Hello, welcome to Crafting with the Crafty Chick. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. We've got some wonderful holiday projects to help us prepare for the holidays. So the first thing we're going to do is the Poinsettia. This is a mini paper pumpkin box that Stampin' Up! Does carry. And so we are just decorating the front. Also, I will show you how to assemble one of these mini paper pumpkin boxes. And these are really nice and sturdy. They've got some heft to them. And you notice when I open the inside here, we've got a shine. And that is food grade plastic, which means that if you wanted to put something food related, cookies, fudge, candy, something like that, it will be safe to put in this kind of packaging. So these are really nice. Just a nice sized box, and you put so many things in here. You put little tea lights or gift cards or little notepads. I mean, so many things you can do with this. But I thought, well, this would be cute. We're always looking for packaging around the holidays, and what more fun would it be to just make your own? So this was an idea that I came up with, and so I'm going to show you guys how to do this. One of the things I want to bring in here is just kind of the instruction. So I decided to use a Sharpie in hopes that maybe you guys can see this a little bit better than just pin on a piece of paper. And so the DSP for this, which is the Poinsettia DSP in the Stampin' Up! Holiday Catalog, coordinates with this bundle. And it is 3 5/8 by 5 1/2. And then we're using the Poinsettia Petals bundle from Stampin' Up! And so we've used quite a few of these. We used the flower. Now I did not stamp the petals. I just die cut them out. And it's really nice. Let's see if we can bring this in the camera and see if you guys can pick up on the detail of that embossing on these petals. It's just really amazing. And then also I used this sprig right here, which does have a pine cone at the end of it. It's really hard to make that out on the paper. As you can see here, we have 2 of them. They're little pine cones. I did try coloring them in, and it just didn't look right, in my opinion. So I've just left them plain. And then we're using the berries, sprigs is what I call them. And so you have your outline, and then you have another one, which is the berries. So you stamp your outline first, and then you stamp your berries. It's just lined right up really nicely. And then we're using the leaves. I have 2 different size leaves. There's a bigger one and a smaller one. And we are using this sentiment, the Merry Christmas, as part of this Poinsettia Petals bundle. And so if you look on here, the tag, so on the stamp set, it's all one line. On here, I've got it separated, and how I did that was I just stamped the Merry and masked off the Christmas. And so what I did was took a piece of Scotch tape and just put it over the top of the Christmas and stamped the Merry, and then masked the Merry with a piece of Scotch tape and then stamped the Christmas. And so that's how I was able to do that, because that would not all have fit on here. And so just know you can do that with the stamp set. If you have a sentiment that's too long, you can break it up and just using the masking technique, and that works really well. Okay, and we are using, so the Stampin' Up! Mini Paper Pumpkin boxes are in the annual catalog on page 152, and you get 10 of them for $7.50. So a little goes a long way. And then we're using these gold enamel dots, which is in the regular catalog as well. I love these. These are really, really pretty. Okay. And then, so I will bring this back in at the end of the video again, just so you guys have your measurements in case you want to make these. One other thing I want to point out is the shape of this tag is from the Painted Poppies bundle in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. So we didn't use any of the stamps, but I did use one of the dies, and I want to show you which one that is, because it makes like a tag. And so this is the die that I used for this project, where it cuts out kind of the corners here. And so it just makes a really nice shape. And so that's from the Painted Poppies set. I'll go ahead and put that back in here. You guys know I like to keep my dies with my stamp sets. And this is how I keep them on my shelf. And I rubber band them so that they stay together. And that way I never have to hunt through my dies to find which ones go with which set. Okay, so you're going to need your bone folder, and you're going to need your mono glue, and you're going to need dimensionals, and your paper piercer or your take your pick tool. Okay, and we're ready to get started. I hope everybody is getting ready for the holidays. I know we are. We are getting ready to go into full-on cookie baking mode, so the girls and I are really looking forward to that. And yay, I finally get to satisfy my craving for cookies. I've been wanting cookies. It's so bad, you guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. So the first thing we're going to start with, and I'm going to pull this off to the side, and I'll pull it back in later. So here you have your paper pumpkin box. So if you order these from Stampin' Up, this is how they come in a clear cellophane bag. And they have all of the score lines already in there. So as you can see, this is the food grade side. And if you turn it over, it's like a matte white. I don't know what I'm going to put inside mine yet. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to do the food safe side inside. And so now what I'm going to do is you'll just follow your score line, and you want to use your bone folder and just really sharpen those score lines. And you have another one that's on this end, and so I'm going to bring that back and fold that in. And just something I want to mention now is here you have these two holes, these little slots or slits or whatever you want to call them. And here you can see you have tabs on the end. So basically when we go to put our box in, we're going to fold this over and raise it up, and then those little tabs are going to tuck right into place. And so that's basically creating our side of our box. And so we have that on both sides. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, and we're going to do the same thing on this one. I'm bringing this in right on that score line and going over that with my bone folder, and then we're going to go ahead and crease this score line and go over that with your bone folder. Okay, and you can go ahead and pop out these little pieces here. Okay, and now I'm going to turn my box around, and this is the front flap, and I'm going to bring this in on that fold line. And then also you have two tabs on the end of here, and they also have a score line. So I'm going to bring in those tabs and go over those with my bone folder. Okay, and then I'm going to turn the box around again. And here in the middle, we have two side tabs again, and I'm going to bring those in and fold those in and go over those with my bone folder. And this is the middle part, so this is our bottom, you know, the part that you put your goodies in. And so I'm going to turn this back around, and then we have another score line that goes right here. And bring this toward me, and then here we have another top part, and that has a score line with two side tabs as well. I'm going to turn this around and just bring that towards me. I'm going to open this back up, and we have a tab here and a tab here. So this goes really, really quickly once you have put a couple together. And really the most time-consuming part with this box is just doing all of the score lines and knocking out the two slip pieces here. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to open our box back up, And so this is the part that we're going to go ahead and start assembling our box now. And so we're going to go ahead and bring in, so you have on the front of your box this long rectangular piece with your 2 side tabs. And then we have our next side flaps with our slits or slot holes. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to fold this over, this part that has the tabs on it. And I'm going to go ahead and tuck those in, to pop those into the holes there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Sorry. We want to fold this part in with the side tabs first. It makes it so much easier. And then we're going to bring in the side part and just kind of click those tabs into place. If you can hear that clicking. And so this side tab goes in. And this piece that has the end tabs, we're going to bring that in. Your tab goes inside. And then we're going to click those into place. There's 1, and there's 2. And so now you've got the inside of your box. And then you have your side tabs here. And these are going to go in. So let me turn this around so you guys can get a better visual. And so this is going to go... Oh, I didn't sharpen this score line. Yes, very, very important. That's why it's not wanting to budge. So you can go ahead and just get that into place, or you can undo your box and really sharpen that score line if you want to. Okay, and so now I'm going to bring in these side tabs and they're going to go forward. So now they're going to be inside our box. You can see them in here now. And then these side tabs are going to go in like this. So your box should look like this. You're going to have your 2 side tabs. Hold on a minute. Okay, it's been a while. Sorry. We have to undo this part. Sorry, guys. Okay. We're going to get it right now this time, I promise. But I think my camera is... Let me just zoom out a little bit here. Okay. Coming to focus now. Okay, so we're going to take our piece with the 2 side tabs and we're going to bring them in. And then this piece with these side tabs. So basically we're going to have that so that it's easier for us to bring these side tabs in. So these side tabs are coming in and these side tabs are coming in. And so now, basically, both of your side tabs are going to be tucked behind this piece that has the end tabs. And then we're going to just lock that in. Click that in place and click that in place. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So you have your side tab with these 2 side tab pieces on the end. And then you have your inside flaps. So we want to bring those in. And we're going to, so you can see your side tabs there. We're going to just fold those right over. So it creates kind of a seamless. And we're going to click those into place. Now we've got our box. And then we have these side flaps which are going to come in. Bring your box towards you. I'm lifting mine up so you guys can see what I'm doing. Is I'm bringing these in to close our box. And so what you're left with is you have these side tabs. This is the front of your box, but you're going to bring this in and just tuck these tabs right into the side openings there. Okay? See if I can bring that in, and then we're just going to slide those in, and they just slide right in, and now you have your box. What a great quick project. Okay, and so now we're ready to decorate. So I'm going to set our box off to the side, and we're going to decorate and make this all pretty. I love creating packaging for gifts and homemade goodies. It's just super fun. Okay, so on my box I did not have the DSP on the sides because I did not have enough DSP. So basically, and I have the instructions written down somewhere, and I will get those for you guys. But if you wanted to decorate the sides and the front of your box with the coordinating DSP, you can absolutely do that. So just to give you kind of an idea of what that looks like. I ended up and didn't put it on mine because I did not have enough. Okay, and again, this DSP piece is 3 5/8 by 5 1/2, and this is the coordinating Poinsettia Place DSP that's Stampin' Up! Carried. And I mean, just so many pretty patterns, and a lot of versatility you could do with these too. And not every piece has poinsettias. This has pine cone, and there's pine cone branches there. Let me see, and then they have this poinsettia paper, and this one. Yeah, I cut a flower out there. Okay, and real quick, you guys have asked me where I get these sleeve holders for my 12 by 12 DSP, and they really are wonderful. Stampin' Up! Does not carry them, and they're called Storage Studios, paper file, and you get 3 in a pack. And I actually get these from scrapbook.com. I never get them unless they are on sale, and I pay $3.50 to $4 a package, and I usually get several packages at a time, because, I mean, you can never have enough, right? And if you're like me, who loves to hoard DSP, come on, you absolutely need these, guys. Okay, oh, and you can put labels on yours. I don't. Up here there's a, let's see, there's a tab up here at the top where you could put a label on, but once I use the DSP, then I put something else in it, and I don't want to have to worry about replacing the label every time I change paper. So, Storage Studios, paper files, 3 in a pack, scrapbook.com is where I get those. Okay. Alright, so now we're ready to decorate. So I'm going to pull out all of our poinsettia pieces. And this part is really fun, and you're going to want your bone folder for this one. And here's our tag. And I took a sponge dauber and Real Red, Stampin' Up! Real Red ink, and just inked the outer edges so that it would pop a little bit more, that red on that wood grain. Okay, so now I'm going to separate our flowers and our berry sprigs here. Okay. And now, remember, we do have 2 different size leaves, so you want to make sure that you have your proper size leaf separated, because this will come into play when we go to put our leaves on. And so you're going to have 2 smaller leaves and 3 big leaves, and so you can see the size difference between those 2. So we're going to keep those separated, and we're going to start with our poinsettia flowers first. Okay, and so this stamp set has a die for each size of these, and so it comes with an outline die, and then you have another one that goes in, that nestles inside the outline die, that actually embosses these petals for you. So really versatile. Okay, so we're gonna start with the, sorry, we need one of these down here. Okay, 2 poinsettias for this part of our box, and then we're going to want one to go with this this set here, this group. So first thing we're going to do first is we're going to, okay, bear with me, I'm going to explain this as best as I can. So on your first flower, each petal has a different shape, and let me see, I want to make sure I'm doing the right one. Okay, so each petal has a different shape. So as you can see here, that kind of curves in, and then that one curves in. I don't know if my camera is focusing very good. Okay, and then you have one that kind of curves and then just a kind of a sharp up. And you have one that kind of curves down here. So that the petal, not that it matters, but it's how I did my box. The petal that has both the curve coming in to the side, we want that facing up. And so then your next flower, which I call the medium, so it's the big one, the medium, the small, and then the mini is what I call them. And so then the next flower you want to look for, let me make sure it's the right one. Yeah, okay. So then on the medium flower, you have a petal, and this is the only one that's like this, that kind of curved inside. So it comes out and it curved in and then back out. Comes out, curved in and back out. That's going to be, we want that facing the bottom. And the reason that that matters is because when you go to put these together, you want them to be able to form a flower and actually look like a flower, because if you start rotating this, then it just has a different shape and may not be one you're looking for. And I just found that it's the way that I have it, it's more of a realistic poinsettia flower. But you can play around and experiment with these and go with what you guys like. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, and now I'm just trying to remember which one. Oh, nope, not that one. Okay. This was like a couple weeks ago when I put this together. So then we have our medium flower and the petals that we want. So one of the longer petals, that same thing, it curves out, curved in, and then back out on both sides. You want that facing up. And that one is going to go just right over the top of that medium-sized one. So basically, this is how we are going to shape our flower. And we're going to have to take this all back off to attach our flower petals to one another. And then you have your small one. And this one, I just did, there is a petal. Okay, let's see if I can bring this in. I know it can be kind of hard. Okay, I say that this is one of the bigger petals, but it has a curve outward and then curved in and then kind of flares back out. And that one I have facing up. And so this one, I took it and I rotated it a little bit. So basically, you're filling in the gaps between each petal. Now I'm going to bring this in closer to the camera so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So there's no gap in between each layer of poinsettia. Okay, so now we're going to take that all back off, because now we've got to attach our pieces together. And so we need to get our dimensionals. Bring those in. And so for the biggest flower, I used a regular size dimensional and just put that right in the center of that. And this really creates a nice 3D effect for our poinsettia flower. Okay. And so now we're going to go ahead and attach. So you've got your dimensional in the center. We're going to go ahead and attach this. And you want to cover up that dimensional. You don't want to be able to see that dimensional at all. And you also want to make sure that you're covering up these gaps in between each petal. You see where the white grid paper is showing through. And so what you can do is turn it, rotate it until you can't see the dimensional and you can't see the grid paper. And so I have filled it in, okay? And then we're going to take another dimensional and put it on the medium flower. And we're going to peel that away. And you're going to come in with your small flower and do the same thing. You're going to cover up the back of that dimensional and cover up the gaps in between your flower layers. And so now you can really start see it's coming together now. Okay, and then we're going to take a mini dimensional and we're going to put it on the back of the mini flower. It's like the perfect size dimensional for the center of that flower. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and let me find my petal here. And remember, you want to make sure you get the kind of one of the bigger ones that flares out and then comes in and flares out. And you want to cover up the gaps in between here. Okay. And then when you've got your flower all assembled, I know it's hard to see now, but it really does create a 3D effect when you use your dimensional. So now what we're going to do is you're going to take your bone folder, or you can use take your pick tool or your old paper piercer if you have it. And what I like to do now is I'm going to kind of turn this over. I know it's hard to describe. Actually, I'm not going to do that part yet. So you have your bigger flower on the bottom, and then you have your medium flower. So I'm taking the petal from my medium flower, and I'm going to come in with my bone folder and just gently kind of curve that. And so it just creates a curve. It's really cool. And I'm going to do that for all of the petals on the medium flower. And so you can also do that with, if you have an old paper piercer, but I just find that the bone folder really does a good job too. This makes more of a curve on the petal and not so much toward the ends like the bone folder does. But you can use either one. Okay, and you just want to be gentle because you can rip it if you're too hard. You don't want to do that. And so I'm coming in. And you might be thinking, well, why don't you do that before you assemble the flower? Well, because during the process of you assembling the flower, you can actually straighten out some of those curves. And so it's easier to just do it after you've put your flower together. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, we've got more of a curve. It's coming more to life now, creating more of that 3D effect. And now what I'm going to do is, so we have our big flower, our medium, and then our small. So now I'm going to come in and kind of turn this over and take the small flower petals and kind of curve them upward a little bit. And I'm going to do that on all of the petals. It just makes it a little more realistic. Okay. And boy, that flower is really, really looking good now. Okay, so now we've got our poinsettia is done. And at this point, we can go ahead and take our gold glitter dots and get them out of the packaging here. So I have 4 because we're going to take, and these are so pretty, we're going to take 3 of those and put them right in the center of our poinsettia. And then we're going to use the other one on the 2 small flowers, on the minis. So I'm going to go ahead and just do those now. I'll lift these up off of here. Okay. Let's see, I lost the, there we go. So I put 2 side by side. And then I put one underneath, so almost kind of a picture, kind of a triangle shape. And now I got that on my paper. There we go. And I will bring this up to the camera in a minute just so you guys can see what I'm doing. This one wants to be not stuck down. It wants to keep moving. Again, this stuff never happens on camera, never happens off camera. That's what I meant to say. All right, and then we've got one more. Okay, hopefully you guys don't have this much of a problem trying to get your, I'm just chasing this around. Okay, I think I'm going to get my take your pick tool. And we're going to get that out. Alright, so I'm actually going to use the putty tip on our take your pick tool. It's great for picking these little guys up. Oh, this one might be stuck. Okay, here we go. And so now I'm going to take that and just place it right in the center. There we go. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that now. Focus, there we go. And so I just got those 3 in the center. This thing with that putty tip works great for picking up things like this. All right. And so now we're going to set our flower off to the side. And don't lose your other little gold glitter dot. Okay, now here comes the fun part. So we're going to go ahead and attach our tag, and you want to just kind of center it right in the center of your DSP piece. And that matters because it's going to come into play when we do our flower arrangement. So I'm just going to use mono glue and glue that on. Make sure you have your sentiment on the end part. I'm going to center this here. And you want to line up this edge with along the edge of your DSP piece. Okay, we'll glue that down. Okay, and this is where it's going to come into play when it matters, because when you start attaching the leaves on, see, I have this leaf that just kind of goes right in between the two sentiments without covering them up. So we want to be mindful of that. And this is a big leaf. Remember, we have 3 big leaves and we have 2 small leaves. And so on this end is a big leaf. And so we actually want to attach that. And this is the best way that I found, is to actually just put it directly on your piece. Now, we're not going to do any adhering. We're kind of doing our paper piecing right now, if you will. And then we're going to take our old olive pine sprigs and we're going to come in, because they're going to come in at an angle. And so you're just kind of basically designing where you want your pieces to go is what we're doing right now. Okay, so I've got a pine sprig on each end and then a big leaf in the middle of that. Okay, so that kind of gives me an idea there. And then we're going to come in with a small leaf and I'm going to tuck that in just right under here. And yes, your pieces are going to move, and that's okay. But just to kind of give you an idea of where all of your pieces are going to go. Okay, and then up here at the top corner, you're going to take both of your big leaves and you're going to just kind of connect them like this. So basically end to end, and just bring in one a little bit. And those are going to come in and be up here at the top of our poinsettia here. Okay, and then your other small leaf is going to come in over here at this corner. Okay, and then you have your 3 berry sprigs, and one is going to come in up here. And then you're going to have your other 2 where you just overlap them, and you can stick them in, or you can do one at a time. I prefer to do one at a time, just because it makes it easier to really line it up. Okay, and your flower is going to move, and that's okay. So then over the top of this leaf in the corner is, I'm just going to tuck in one berry sprig here. And I'm going to just take my nail and grab that leaf, pull it down a little bit more, and chuck those berries in. There we go. And then this one is going to come in kind of at an angle. And so you get the idea. Okay, so I'm going to pull the berry sprigs, these ones back out, just because I will do those last. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is just very carefully take your flower back off, and we are going to put dimensionals all over the back of this thing. Okay. So I just kind of put one on the back of every petal of the biggest flower. And then I did one right in the center as well. Okay, so this is going to accomplish 2 things. One, it's going to adhere your flower to the base, but it also is going to help to grab and stick some of these pieces on as well. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off the backing. Remember, your tags should be already glued onto your DSP. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? I love listening to Christmas music. Tell me what your favorite Christmas songs are. Mine is, I have several. But I think my top two are the Christmas song, you know, the one that goes, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. My singing is terrible, so just a heads up. And the other one is I Love Mary Did You Know. So I think those are my top two favorites. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pre-stage where my flower was. And when I think I've got it right where I want it, and you want to try to keep everything inside of your DSP. You don't really want anything sticking out over the edge of your box, especially if you plan to mail this to somebody. And so I'll get my flower back in here and see where we were. I think I need to go this way. Nope. I got my flower all twisted up here. Okay, there we go. And so when I got it right where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. And so you want to just try to kind of press in the middle and push down on your petals, and that is going to grab and stick to your pieces that are underneath. And so now, and you will have a few that aren't adhered very, very well. I've got one that's really sticking here. Okay. And so as you can see, I was able to lift that pretty much all off in one piece. But you will need to come back in now, like I can see here. I need to secure this with a dimensional and then these leaves just so that they stay in place. And so I'm going to come in and do that now, which is a few more dimensionals. Okay, I'm going to turn this back over. And yes, you can go ahead and move them around just to get them in position if they're not exactly where you want them. And so I'm going to do that. Bring that back in here now. Okay, so this one went this way, right? No. Okay, these two go up in the top. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is stick a dimensional on the back of that leaf there. And I'm going to place this right over here in between that sentiment piece. So then when I bring my flower back in, then that kind of gives me that idea of where that gets lined up. And you can absolutely do this. You can absolutely put a dimensional on the back of each one of these pieces and just tuck them in where you want them to go too. It's either way. Can't go wrong with it. So now I'm going to come in and just tuck this right under here. That's my sprig, my pine sprig here. And bring this one and tuck this in up here. There we go. Okay, and so now those are all pretty much right where I want them, but I do want to bring this one in just a little bit more. So I'm going to use mini dimensionals. Oh, we forgot the mini dimensionals on the backs of the berry sprigs. And if you don't have them on there, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so I just have 3 on the back there. Peel that away. Okay. Well, I have to tell you really quick, we had our Christmas tree picked out like late spring, early summer. We found one along one of our trails that we thought was the perfect one. And when we went to go look at it closer, in preparation for cutting it down, yeah, it didn't look as nice as we remembered. So then that began our quest of going out in the woods and looking for a tree. One of the funny things is that our forest is still kind of young, so we have a lot of small trees, or we have big trees, but the branch or the stumps are, you know, not very big in diameter. Which we have to take into account for our tree stand. So that kind of presented a dilemma, but we were able to overcome it. Daryl went into town and got much longer bolts to accommodate some of these smaller trees for our tree stand. And so we went back out. I think we spent 2 or 3 days looking for a tree in the cold. Trudging through, the snow was up to my knees, if that gives you any idea. And I thought, my boots I have, they go just above my knee a little bit. I thought, well, if the snow got any deeper, I mean, what do you do at this point? What kind of boots do you get? Anyway, it was pretty funny. And then, in addition to that, because it was so cold, and I knew we could be out there for a while, I was wearing my snow bibs. So, my snow bibs with my Arctic boots, with my winter jacket, trudging through deep snow. I felt like a kid, and I thought, now I know how kids feel when we bundle them all up and send them outside. I thought, this is harder than it looks. I learned something that day, but have fun nonetheless, and it did not stop me from going out and in the quest for the search for the perfect tree. We had a lot of fun. A lot of laughs. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with this other berry sprig just off to the side here. I'm making mine so it kind of looks like these two are joined. All right. Okay, so I'm going to come in. This leaf is kind of lifting up. So I'm going to come in with another dimensional and just stick that under there. If you're just doing that, you can do that as well. Okay. You come in here. And I'm going to put one on this other one too. And I'm peeling the backing off. Okay. Alright. So now we have the top of our box cover is almost ready. So now we're going to come in with our mini poinsettia, and we're going to stick a dimensional on the top of one and stick one on the bottom of the same one. So you want one on the bottom and one on the top. And the reason we're going to do that, now you want to make sure that your embossed petal piece is facing up, because that's going to be the part that goes on the top. So the bottom is going to be, your petals are smooth. There's no embossing. So that is going to be on the bottom. And we're going to come in and bring our poinsettia over here in the corner. And then we're going to peel away that dimensional backing. And you come in with your other poinsettia. Make sure your embossed petals are facing up. And I'm going to just turn this a little bit here. There. Okay, and there is our mini poinsettia. And then you want to bring in your other gold glitter dot, enamel dot, glitter dot. I'm not sure which one they are. I have to look in the catalog. Okay, and then I'm going to just place that right in the center of the mini poinsettia. And there we have the top. And this would make a really pretty card too. You can absolutely turn that into a card. And so now what we're going to do is, you don't want to push down on this because we've got a lot of lift on here. But we're going to take the mono glue and just run it around the outside edge like a frame, and then the center. And you want to make sure you've got the front of your box facing you. And go ahead and adhere this to the front of your box. So I do have a little bit of a white border showing, and so you will have that white border. Now if you notice, I'm not pushing down on the flower part, but I'm pushing where it's flat, where a DSP, just to secure it to the top of our box. Okay, and there we have our Poinsettia mini paper pumpkin boxes. And again, these are really, really nice. They're very, they're like our thick whisper white. They're very stiff, and I mean, they will hold up well. I would say if you go to mail these in the mail, your best bet probably would be a small priority mail flat weight box. I mean, it will fit in there pretty well, and maybe just a thin layer of bubble wrap over the top. So, oh my goodness, these are so fun, and I hope you're able to use these in your Christmas gift giving if you're doing that, or gifting some homemade goodies. And if not, there's always next year, and you would have a leg up on that and be a little better prepared. I know that's kind of my goal. I say that every year. It doesn't always happen, and that's okay. Anyway, so I hope you guys have fun making these, and let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer your questions, or help with advice. Well, how do you do this and how do you do that? Or if you need help with getting some of these products, just let me know. And I wish you all a very happy holiday season. And don't forget to take care of you during this crazy busy season as well. And I will see you soon for our next project. I love you, miss you, and happy holidays. Bye-bye.